Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at the third house. So super excited to be getting into the third house. It is ruled by the sign of Gemini and by the planet Mercury. So Mercury is anything to do with communication, short distance travel, and technology. If you have a lot of this Gemini third house energy in your chart, the name of the game for you is going to be all things communication. You're probably going to be someone who talks a lot. You're going to probably be someone who's very witty, very charismatic, very charming, very funny. You have a way with words, okay? So you're probably going to be the person who is able to talk yourself out of anything, okay? Because Gemini is mutable. So Gemini is able to see things from all perspectives and they're able to mold to that, okay? They're able to mold to that. And it's interesting because sometimes people might think that Geminis come off double-faced, but this is because, again, they have that nature to them, okay? They really have that nature to them where they're able to see things from all different perspectives and really get along with a lot of different people, okay? Gemini is really able to get along with all different people from all different walks of life because of the fact that, again, they have a lot of this knowledge. They're highly intelligent as a sign. They're able to gather a lot of information, okay, from everybody that they talk to. Every single person that they talk to and they meet, they learn something. And, you know, those people who have a lot of this Gemini slash third house energy in their chart, they're going to be the types who are able to pull out the most random information, okay? You're probably going to be like, how did you know that? Well, probably most likely from somebody that they talk to, okay? This is really Gemini. Gemini energy is the type that's going to be, you know, waiting in a line and they're going to be the first ones to start chatting somebody up because Gemini does not want to be bored, okay? So Gemini does not like routine. They're very much scattered in that energy. And, you know, again, you can look at this from both sides. Some people might look at this as a shadow perspective. They might say the Geminis are inconsistent. You know, they jump from thing to thing, but that's just the nature of the energy. They are more youthful, okay? They are more youthful because they are the third house, okay? They are the third house. They tend to be more youthful in their energy fields. Sometimes might come off childish. I do find them to be more childlike though, okay? They're more in tune with that inner child and like a kid, right? Oh, I want to know what this is. Oh, I want to know what this is. What is this? What is this? What is this? And sometimes this might come to their downfall, okay? So this might come to their downfall because they might not see things through until the end, okay? So they might not actually finish a project before they move on to the next one. And this is really Gemini energy. They tend to be very scattered. They tend to basically do things as long as they hold their interest, okay? So for example, if you have a lot of this Gemini energy in your chart, you're probably going to be watching a TV show or a movie, and then you're going to learn something interesting. You want to find out more about that character, and then you're going to go, you know, Google them, and you're going to find out this next thing is going to throw it down this whole rabbit hole. 2 hours are going to pass, and you're going to say, hey, I never even finished my TV show. That's the Gemini energy, okay? They tend to go from this to this to this to this, gathering and collecting as much information that they can. And basically, again, this is because of the fact that they're highly intelligent. They need to be intellectually stimulated at all times, okay, at all times. And, you know, if you have a lot of this energy in your chart, sometimes, you know, it's important to understand that this is unrealistic, okay, because the everyday life and the everyday society that we do live in is very much about routine and having a routine and being routine based. So if you have a lot of this third house Gemini energy in your chart, it's really important for you to be able to find ways to basically keep things different, okay? Keep things different depends where you have this energy in your charts, okay? Let's say it's in a relationship. So let's say it's in Venus, and this would be your area of love and relationships. So how can you keep things interesting in your relationships, okay? But again, a lot of the time, this third house energy is going to date around, okay? They're going to date a lot of people. They're not really going to be like the water signs where they're looking for depth. They're looking more so for collecting information. And again, like I mentioned in my previous videos, this energy tends to calm down by the time the person gets to their Saturn return, which is usually 27, 28, 29, depending on your chart, okay? Age 27, 28, 29. And then after that, it moves into the fourth house, which is the sign of Cancer, which is really interesting, okay? Because they kind of go from being scattered to being more homey, to being more grounded, to being more grounded in their energy, okay? Because everybody up until their Saturn return, they're developing their solar plexus, which is their identity, okay? So everybody's developing their identity up until this point, and basically the way Gemini or third house is going to be developing their identity is through meeting people, is through talking to different people, is through, you know, having a lot of different friends. They're probably going to be the type that has a lot of different friend groups that they belong to, okay? And again, you know, from the outside as an external person, you're probably gonna be like, wait, how are you friends with this person and this person? They're friends with everybody. Again, they're mutable. They're able to mold to any person. They're gonna find a common ground with absolutely any person. One of the downfalls with this energy though is that they want to be liked by everybody. So if they're not, that's really going to bother them, and they might fall into the energy of being people pleasers, and this is a huge lesson for them, okay? It's a huge lesson for Gemini third house energy to basically not be a people pleaser because it takes away from you and your person, okay? So you kind of fall into the back burner and really you're meant to shine in whoever you are as a person. So this is really a big thing, okay, to not fall into this energy of trying to appease to everybody, okay, trying to appease to everybody. And this is why sometimes to an external person, they might come off double-faced, okay? Gemini does tend to get a bad rap, I find, especially, you know, when people are talking about the astrological signs and all these sorts of things. And obviously there's always jokes about every single sign, but with Gemini, they do tend to be very inconsistent. And this is because of the fact, again, they're basically gathering this information to create, you know, a solid foundation for themselves. And then after they move out of this energy, they're basically going to be moving into their secondary progressions. Again, it depends on the person, okay? It depends on the person. The times that we're living in, I do find that things are happening faster. So people are learning their lessons faster. But, you know, sometimes I've seen in people's charts that they don't learn these lessons up until their next secondary progressions, which is usually around, in their 50s, okay, when they go through their second Saturn return, okay? So we go through 2 Saturn returns in our lifetime, okay? So that's, you know, if you live up until you're 80. And a lot of the time when you go through the Saturn return, you're going to be going through a lot of changes. So this is really Gemini. You know, if you have a lot of this third house Gemini energy in your chart, you're probably going to be interested in jobs or careers, anything to do with communication, okay? So you might be interested in marketing. Social media is a big one for Gemini. Anything that keeps them connected to other people, okay? So whether you are working for another company or whether you're working for yourself, social media marketing could be something that you're really good at. You know, with Gemini, again, because it's communication, it's all about the written and spoken word. Although I find, because again, it is Gemini energy, it's short. Okay, so anything to do with like short spoken words. So let's say Twitter would be a really good outlet for Gemini because they get to basically put in that one-liner instead of writing a whole thing. Okay, so they might love to write, but again, they need to have a lot of focus to actually focus in their energy. And it depends on the rest of their chart, okay, or your chart, whoever it is that's tuning into this video. But it really depends on the rest of your chart to see what kind of other energies you have going on in there, to see whether you're going to be someone who's more about short, you know, writing, things like poetry, singing, songwriting, again, those one-liners, okay, maybe you could be working, you know, on slogans for a company, okay, so you know that's very Gemini energy. Or if it's longer things like books, okay, so if it is longer things, you're going to need more discipline, so you're probably going to have more earth energy in your charts. And then again, the type of writing is going to be different, okay, so if you have more 12th house in there, you're probably going to be more interested in romance, okay, imagination, creativity, okay, anything that's like anything that uses the imagination, okay, so that's really the 12th house mixed in with the 3rd house. Okay, and again, if you have maybe like a lot of 1st house energy in there, you're probably not going to be someone who's going to be able to sit through writing a whole thing, okay, or even reading a whole thing. So this is the thing with Gemini. They need things that grasp their attention fast, okay, and quick. That's how they get their information. They get their information quickly, okay? So if you're going to, you know, write them that long love letter that Rachel did to Ross in Friends, where she wrote 18 pages and front and back or whatever it was, Gemini's not going to read that. Most likely they're going to skim through it. You know, they're going to skim through it, but they're not going to read the whole thing, okay? Because again, it's not Gemini energy to have that much focus. They just don't. That's just the nature of their sign, okay? And, you know, again, it's about learning the different signs and learning to work with them, or learning your chart and learning to work with your energy, and, you know, not trying to put yourself in an energy that's not you, okay? So if you're not someone who can sit there and write a whole essay or book or whatever it is, something that's long, okay, long-winded, then stick to smaller things, okay? That's really Gemini energy. I find Gemini energy also can manifest in politicians, okay? So I've seen a lot of politicians who have a lot of Gemini energy in their charts. So either Gemini or 3rd house. Anything to do with speaking. Anything to do with speaking could be like videos like this, okay? It could be, again, anything to do with maybe being on news or media or whatever it is that uses the throat chakra, okay? Gemini needs to talk. They need to talk. They need to communicate. They need to talk. They need to express themselves verbally, okay? And, you know, with Gemini, again, they're very, they tend to be very nice, okay, as an energy, right? Because again, sometimes the people-pleasing energy really does, you know, come into that, right? But let's say they have Mars in Gemini, or let's say they have Mars in the 3rd house. Well, when they're angry, that's when the words are probably going to come out. They're going to come out and like say all these things. You're going to be like, where did that come from? It's left field. Okay, so it's a lot to do with, again, the throat chakra, right? So most of the time, depending on the person's charts, okay, they're really going to be good at just expressing themselves in any way, shape, or form, and kind of just like, you know, saying it how it is, you know, basically having it come out as, again, it could be short, right? They're not going to sit down and write you a love letter, okay? Depends on their chart. If they have 12th house in there, they might, okay? If they have 12th house in there, they might. But again, they're going to basically verbalize it to you. It's the written or the spoken words, and they're going to express it. Texting is going to be big for them, okay? So like, let's say you are dating someone who has Venus in Gemini or Venus in the 3rd house. Texting is going to be huge, okay? Or phone calls or whatever it is. Anything to keep in touch with them, okay? They're going to need that communication probably throughout, maybe not the whole day because that's unrealistic, because, you know, people have lives and they have other things to do, but they're going to touch base with you, okay, through communication in any way, shape, or form that they can. It doesn't matter for them. Like, they're not the ones that are going to be like, okay, it has to be in person, okay? So this is a huge thing with the Gemini energy. For them, they feel as though if they are communicating with you via text, via messages, voice notes, whatever it is, phone calls, whatever way you want to look at it, emails, if people are still emailing, right? If they are communicating with you, they're still keeping in touch with you. So for them, they're not probably going to be the type that are going to be like, we have to see each other all the time or whatever it is, right? Because to them, they're getting that communication in. This is just the Gemini energy. Depends where you have it. Again, if you have Gemini in the Mercury, okay, so if it's in its home planets, okay, or if you have it in the 3rd house, Mercury in the 3rd house, it's going to be in its home planet, okay, so it's going to be very happy there, okay. Whenever we have the sign in its home planet, it's going to be very happy. Again, they're going to intellectually be able to communicate things to you. They're going to have a way with words. If they have a business and they work with other business partners, they're probably going to be the ones who are pitching the deal, okay? That's the Gemini energy. Again, they're going to always find a way to express things in either a charismatic, witty, intellectual, or fast way, okay? Something's going to grasp the attention. That's Gemini, okay? That really is Gemini. They're always going to be able to grasp the attention quickly. Again, depending on the rest of the chart, right? It's going to kind of tell you the arena they're going to be basically working in. Let's say they have a lot of 10th house energy, Capricorn, okay, or Capricorn. They're probably going to be more in the business world, okay, communicating, probably going to be doing presentations. You know, they're probably going to be the ones who are like in managerial maybe positions, if they have 1st house in there. Actually, if they have 1st house, leading presentations, right? So let's say they have 1st house mixed in with 3rd house, mixed in with 10th house. That's probably going to be, you know, those corporate business people who are leading presentations, right? A shadow aspect of Gemini is, again, not to manipulate with your words, like I mentioned with Mars and Gemini, right? Not to basically, you know, express yourself in the way that you are getting what you want out of another person through manipulation, right? But again, we all learn these things with time. So that's something important to keep in mind, is to not manipulate with your words, because you're basically like the type of person who is able to express anything and get whatever you want through speech, okay? So, you know, back in the day, before we had like online applications for jobs, they were probably the type who would walk into a store, chat up the manager, get the job right away. That's Gemini energy, okay? Because they're charismatic. They're able to lure you in through their speech. They become friends, okay? So that's kind of like their, I guess, tactic in life. They're going to be really good at networking events, all these sorts of things. That's how their opportunities are going to open up for them, okay? It really is. It is through them as a person going around, communicating with people, becoming friends with people. And sometimes, you know, it's not always going to be in the way that it's like they're trying to get an end goal. It just happens to be that way, okay? It just happens to be that way that, you know, they became friends with all these people, and through that person, they got introduced, and they got a new job position or a new role or whatever it is. That's just the 3rd house, okay? That really is the 3rd house. They are always going to be well liked, okay, as I was mentioning earlier, but important not to fall into the people-pleasing shadow, because again, you still don't want it to take away from you as a person. So that's a huge thing that Gemini has to work through, or 3rd house, is to get out of people-pleasing energy. And probably in a friend group, okay, so let's say they're in a friend group, they're going to be the type who is going to know everything, okay? And sometimes, again, they might come off as devil's advocates. Let's say they have Moon in Gemini, okay? Moon in Gemini is going to be able to see things from everyone's perspective. They're going to be able to remain neutral, but sometimes, you know, one person who's upset in a conflict, let's say there's 2 friends who are arguing with each other or whatever, and you're the Gemini and you're in the middle, right? Gemini Moon, and you're in the middle of it, or 3rd house Moon, right? 3rd house or Gemini, and you're in the middle of it. Both people are going to come to you and say what the issue is, and you're going to be able to remain neutral, and they might get upset with you because you're not picking either side. But that's just Gemini. It's mutable, okay? The mutable signs and the mutable energy are able to mold, okay? That's the best way to look at it. First of all, they're able to mold to their circumstance. They're able to adapt quickly in whatever circumstance that they are in. And sometimes, again, to an external person, they might come off double-faced or inauthentic, because they're going to be like, wait, you showed this aspect of yourself to me. Why are you being like that now? But that's just because that's Gemini. Gemini has a lot of faces, right? It's the twins, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean that they are double-faced, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean that they are double-faced, but they might not always speak their mind, okay? So that's a huge thing with Gemini. They might not always actually say what's actually on their mind because of that people-pleasing energy. They want to be liked, like they are well-liked naturally, but they also want to be well-liked along with that, okay? So huge thing to keep in mind with Gemini, it really, really is to basically not fall into the shadow aspect of third house Gemini, which is, again, people pleasing, but then it's at your own expense, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you are people pleasing to that extent, you're not really, you know, being yourself or being your true self, or, you know, being who you're meant to be, or whatever way you want to look at it. So really important to keep that in mind with Gemini. It's a fun energy. It's very lighthearted. Okay. Again, it's that childlike energy, very inner child energy. Does not mean necessarily they're immature. They might get that rap, but again, this is because they're younger in the zodiac. They have to basically learn. They're going to stumble a lot through these experiences that basically involve people. Also, one more thing that I forgot to mention is the third house is also siblings. Okay, so again, depending on where you have this third house energy in your chart, you could either get inspired by your siblings, or you could have siblings that are your rivals, or you could have a lot of siblings. So this is also the house of siblings as well, the third house. So that's another thing with the third house. And like I was saying earlier with Mercury, you could be interested in technology, because again, technology keeps people connected. Okay, it keeps people connected. So ultimately, at the end of the day, this is really what the third house is about. It's about connection. It is all about being connected to other people in any way, shape, or form, networking, friends, you know, being friends with a lot of people, friend groups, okay, learning from a lot of people, and short distance travel. So if you have a lot of this Gemini energy and you do get bored, because Gemini does get bored quickly and they don't want to be bored, this is why they tend to not finish their projects. Okay, so if you might be someone who gets bored quickly and you are stuck in routine, short trips could be good for you. So switching things up, it doesn't necessarily mean going on an actual trip like booking a hotel, even though it could mean that. The short trips could be like you going to the library today instead of, you know, going to the store, or whatever it is, something that basically switches up your environment and changes, okay, things for you. So this is really what Gemini is. They're talented with speech, communication. You're going to see them in a lot of positions of, again, anything to do with public, interacting with people, communicating, because again, they're very likable as an energy, okay? They're very, very much likable. And this is my video on Gemini. So I hope you guys did enjoy Gemini/third house. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you guys know any Geminis and your experiences with them. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.